Dang, with this one, I'd almost say that the series has already peaked. Alright, time for part 4 of the 13 for the 13th and part 4 of the Friday the 13th movie series, this being Friday the 13th, the final chapter. The movie was released in 1984, 2 years after part 3. This is the first one where there was a 1-year break in between movies, and this one was marketed as the final Friday the 13th movie, due to Paramount feeling a little embarrassed by the series because despite them making money at the box office, you know, they're not anything that's super stellar or, you know, high art or anything like that. So they were like, let's go ahead and put an end to this and kill Jason, with Tom Savini coming back to do the effects in this movie, which you can definitely notice. Let's get into this one. So, like part 3 before it, this one takes place immediately after the last one, with Jason still at Higgins Haven, and he is taken away to a local hospital. And right away, you can just see the budget of this movie, just because it starts out just a bit bigger than everything else, just with all the personnel and the helicopter and everything. It just seems a bit larger in scope than the last 3. But yes, he's taken to a hospital where it's quickly discovered, oh, he's not actually dead. Kills some people, leaves. And of course, Jason makes his way back to Crystal Lake, where he comes across the Jarvis family and a group of teens that are in the house next door. And of course, lots of murder ensues. Looking at the characters, of course, as usual, you have Jason in this movie. Jason is played by Ted White. Great Jason performance. He's awesome. Like with the last one, I love the physicality of Jason in this movie. I like how you can just see him becoming more weathered since he still has his injuries from part 3, like the axe wound in the head and the mask. And overall, I dig him in this one, and his unmatched face is pretty gnarly. Of course, it keeps changing in between movies. There are some basics that are kind of the same, but for the most part, if you line these up, especially the fact that 2, 3, and 4 are within a day or two of each other, it's kind of nuts. The biggest new character of this movie is, of course, Tommy Jarvis, played by Corey Feldman. Tommy Jarvis is usually kind of seen as sort of the nemesis of Jason, because he's the main character in this one and the next 2. You know, kind of have the Tommy Jarvis trilogy. He's the character that Jason's probably had the biggest impact on. And of course, he is the one that actually kills Jason at the end. Jason dies at the end of this movie, and it's because of this kid. But we have his sister Trish and his mom Tracy. I like his sister a lot. I feel like she's pretty capable in this one. I'd say another pretty good, like, I'm not sure if final girl really works since her and Tommy survive in the end. I'll just call her a good final girl. There's this character Rob, who's sort of a hitchhiker. He's coming to this movie to see what's going on with Jason due to Jason having killed his sister. His sister being one of the ones caught in that double penetration in part 2. There's the infamous character Jimmy, played by Crispin Glover, who is awesome in this movie. And of course, he has that wild ass dance scene, and he has one of the best deaths in this movie, along with it also kind of being a joke, which I find kind of funny. Oh, I almost forgot, there's Axel Burns in this movie, the scumbag coroner. Yeah, he's pretty great. He doesn't do a whole lot in the movie, but he's pretty funny. The one other, I would say, sort of notable character in this movie is Ted. Ted hangs out with Jimmy a lot, and I kind of just like their whole deal, just the way they joke around and talk to each other. I enjoy their scenes together. Now, on to the kills. Some of the kills are definitely standard slasher stuff, but there's a lot of really cool ones in this movie. One of the ones I mentioned earlier being Jimmy, Crispin Glover's death, where he's asking, hey Ted, where's the corkscrew? And of course, Jason, played by Ted White, which makes me wonder if that was a joke, stabs him in the hand with the corkscrew, and then he takes a meat cleaver to the face. Pretty gnarly, especially with the little head shake when it cuts back to him. And then we later see him nailed across a doorway. Pretty wild. There's the one guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he gets his face crushed into the wall of a shower. That one might be, for me personally, just the scariest kill of the movie, just because of it being dark in the bathroom and the way Jason looks in like the mist of the shower. Like, it's pretty scary. One chick takes an axe to the chest, which is pretty just aggressive and violent, the way it just bursts through the door and just hits her. There's the one chick that gets stabbed from underneath a raft. Oh, and the poor hitchhiker that just wanted a banana and she just gets stabbed through the neck. The way the coroner Axel dies, man, with taking the saw to the neck and then Jason twists his head around, just God. Stuff like that is why Jason's the best slasher. And then, of course, Jason's death in the movie. Fantastic special effects in the scene, with him taking the machete to the face and sliding down it as it cuts deeper into his head. just, man, wild. I've said that a couple of times in this review, but I feel like it fits this movie. Best kill for me is tough because the three ones being meat cleaver to the face, death in the shower, and Axel's head turning experience. I can't really pick a favorite from those three, although it might be the shower one just due to how scary it is in my mind. But now, sort of the legacy of this movie, I guess you could say. This is the last time we see what you could consider human Jason, you know, because he actually legitimately dies in this one. And it brings in sort of the arch nemesis of Jason, Tommy Jarvis, and he sticks around for a few movies, and honestly I feel like he could have stuck around longer. And this one overall I think is just genuinely well made, well done on the whole. Like, I feel like this is genuinely one of the best slashers out there and one of the best in this series. It's really hard for me to say if this is the best in the series. I'm not really sure on that. It's definitely a top 5, most likely a top 3 in the series. The final chapter is a great slasher movie, a great Friday the 13th movie, and really just, I feel, a great horror movie in general. I'd honestly call it great. It's really good, especially if you know what you're getting into with this kind of stuff. So I highly recommend Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Definitely check it out if you haven't. And the name is kind of hilarious because this would not be the final chapter, just because this one made a good bit of money. So immediately next year, they were like, hey you guys, let's do something new. And that's what we'll be looking at tomorrow with Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Thank you for checking this one out, and make sure to stay tuned for the review tomorrow. As always, thank you for watching, and have a good one.